Hello, good evening and welcome to the Fatback 4 daily reaction show to Liverpool versus Brighton. I'm your host Keith Plunkett, and tonight I'm joined by a couple of regular faces at this stage and a new face. So I've got Grizz Can. Grizz, how are you?
I'm good, man. Not too bad. Yourself?
Excellent, excellent. Been a busy week for you, has it?
Yeah, it's been all right. You know, things are getting back to normality. Liverpool back to winning ways. Everything's a stroll in the park at the moment, isn't it? Happy days, yeah.
Yeah, what more can you ask for? What more can you ask for? And well, Jim. Yeah, that's it. Why not? Why not? Keeps you young.
That's the one.
Jim, quite a regular now. You've been on with us a few times in the last few weeks. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. Yeah, thanks for having me back on. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure to have you back. It's always good to get your views on these things, especially post-game. Will be nice to see how you found that game went. So it's good to have you back. And I'm also joined this week by Dylan Clayton. Dylan is a good friend of mine, and I've asked him to come on because he is someone whose opinion I value very highly about football and Liverpool in general. Dylan, how are you?
Hiya, lads. Hiya, Georgie. Hiya, boys.
It's Keith, Dylan. It's Keith.
Oh, sorry.
Don't be giving away my secrets here.
Nobody knows your secret name.
Yeah, no one knows my secret name.
Georgie Best, what?
Yeah, Georgie Best. Doesn't go down well on this pod. So Dylan is joining us for the first time. So we're just going to go through a bit of a review, a reaction of the game that we've just watched. So I'm just going to start off. We've also got the competition that Gav was talking about. That I don't think it's activated yet, but people know the score. And anyway, I'm just going to have a little check. It's a competition when we hit 2,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. And I have a feeling this could go. Oh, it has, yeah. It's just, we're over 2,000, which means, by the way, me and Grizz are going to have to do a tin whistle and singing duet next week with Fairy Tale in New York, which will be interesting. So before we get started on the match, I'll just run through. So, association with 3 Retro, we have a competition running, and what we want everyone to do now that we've gone over the 3,000 subscribers is, let me just get this up. No, you know, I'll come back to it in a minute. Because I don't want to give the wrong information on this, so I'll just make sure I'm right. But look, we'll talk about the game first. We'll come back to the competition. Lineups tonight. Jim, will start with you. Were you surprised with the 11 that went out there, or did you expect changes, and were the changes you expected to see?
No, I wasn't surprised with changes. I think last time I was on, we thought maybe Neco Williams might get a start in the previous game. Obviously, that wasn't meant to be. So today, I was surprised to see him play at left back, to be honest with you. But I suppose you can understand it to a certain extent. But I was surprised that he went with him at left back with Ox in front of him rather than Mane to give him the cover. And that's where their goal come from, didn't it? Down that side. So not a criticism of Williams, but, you know, young lad, probably would have been nice to give him a start in his preferred position. But, you know, it is what it is, I suppose. As for the front 3, again, you could argue that Minamino could have been given a start, but I think what's clear is he's not going to be making wholesale changes. He's not going to be making 6-7 changes from match to match. 1 or 2 changes to keep the guys' legs fresh. But mostly, it's clear that he wants to win the remaining games and the records that come along with that.
Yeah, it is. It's good to see him taking it that bit serious as well. You know, you don't want them to be going out and putting, 11 changes into the team. 1 or 2 is nice, and to give Neco the blooding like that was, I agree, it was unusual to put him on the left, but it's a good learning curve for him. You know, it's a good. And
it might be that's one of the jobs he might need to do next season. You know, he may need to be able to fill in on the right, fill in on the left. So if that's what he wants to do, then, you know, fair play to him. He's got his first start in the Premier League. He's definitely got enough now for a winner's medal, hasn't he, officially? So
is he over 5 now?
I think so. So yeah, all in all, good night, really. Good night's work.
Good stuff, good stuff. Grizz, I'll come to you next. What did you make of the lineup? Were you expecting different changes, similar changes? What did you think of it?
Yeah, just like Jim said, slightly surprised with the Neco at left back. I mean, I thought if he was going to sort of bring him in, I thought maybe, I mean, I know Trent's amazing delivery from the right, but I thought maybe the more experienced fullback would have gone to the left and then played Neco on the right. But, hey man, this is Jurgen Klopp. This is just he can do what he wants basically, and it comes off. Again, slightly surprised that if he's going to bring in Neco Williams as left back, and then he took out Sadio Mane from the left and brought in Ox. So, a couple of surprising selections there. I thought Keita would get another chance. I think Keita's going to get a good run of games to the end of the season now. Sort of make sure he's firing on. He was definitely firing today, firing on all cylinders for the start of the season. Fabinho's played last couple of games, so probably deserved rest. And then Hendo and Gini raring to go after having a little rest. Would have liked to see Minamino maybe, but that's just a personal, selfish type of sort of view in terms of want to see the more he plays, the more he'll get integrated into working with his forward partners. But it is what it is. We move on. He'll probably get the next game. I'm pretty certain. And on we go. It's just it's great to see, but it's great to see the confidence he has in his lads, who some are not sort of first team starters, but he's definitely going for that 100-point mark. Yet he's still blooding in youngsters, which is the perfect combination, which is the perfect result for us. So long may it continue. Yeah,
very much so, very much so. And Dylan, what did you make of the selection, the 11?
Again, yeah, I'd agree with the two boys there. On Ox starting instead of Mane. I'd say he probably would be more defensive minded than Mane, so for that protection for Williams. But I mean, it's very hard to give a good criticism, if you want to say, of what we're doing at the moment, because we just have had two of the most intensive years of absolute near perfection. And I mean, we have to take the foot off some stage, and I mean, for me, everyone's allowed a mistake now or two. That make even Jurgen. So I don't know. I just think I don't know. I think Ox. I don't think we've seen the best of Ox, and I think Carragher said on the commentary there, if you're watching it on Sky, he's best in the middle. I don't think he does anything out in the wings at all. I didn't see him in the first half an hour. I don't know if we were watching the same game, but I didn't see him.
Well, one of the main issues he had with Arsenal while he was at Arsenal, that the coaches just didn't believe or trust in him playing through the middle, even though sort of when he was making the odd appearance for England, he was performing superbly through the centre. And that's one of the things I totally agree with you. I just don't see him making enough of an impact when he's out wide. Yeah. He seems to be far more comfortable in the centre, and I definitely think he's got the game. But again, even in the centre, I don't know, since the restart, he hasn't been quite at it. I mean, I don't know the reason. It's maybe, the combination of midfielders. We spoke earlier, didn't we, Keith, about last week where games where Klopp leaves both Gini and Hendo out, I worry. Okay, no problem. Rotation's fine, but I always feel safer when one of them's playing as opposed to both being changed. Do you know what I mean? They're the stalwarts, they're the brains, they're the tacticians in midfield. So many times Neco went bombing forward and we saw Gini covering so many spaces. So, Ox, it's a tricky one with Ox. I don't know. Maybe it's a patience game, and we haven't got the patience of a Klopp or a Linders, but I think it's a patience game with Klopp, with Ox, to sort of get him back in the groove, like we know he can get it sometimes into. You know what I mean?
Just on Williams starting left back, I think, as we both agreed. Again, I'm nearly being a hypocrite here myself here, because Andy Robertson, as you know, we've all watched the last 2 or 3 games, he hasn't been brilliant. So maybe that's just a little kick in the arse for Andy to say, you're replaceable. You know, just to get his finger out, because when he did come on, he done very well, I thought.
He did. And, you know, you touched on something there, Dylan, that the high intensity they've been playing at for 2 years. I said this on a show last week, you know, to be going at that intensity. City have struggled to maintain that, you know, and they're an excellent team and they've struggled to maintain it. And we've been with them for 2 years solid. Once we've got over that sort of hurdle, that finishing line, it's natural for the players to drop that intensity, isn't it? Just by even 5%. And if 5% off is such a well-oiled machine, can be huge. So it's I think, you know, to read too much into Neco tonight, or to Robbo even in his last few games, these are just about giving lads games, but also keeping the pressure that we can get over the 100 points, because I think he does want to get the 2 of them done, you know what I mean? Jurgen said as well about a shortened pre-season, and they're still not sure when the new season starts, so he's going to use these games to give everyone runs, you know. Before we move on, I'm going to say about the competition, because I saw Gav put it in the chat there. So it's 3 retro footy in association with the lads over there. They do great, retro shorts, all that sort of stuff, right? So 3 retro football. There was an agreement once we hit over 2,000 subscribers, which we've now done, it's going to activate a competition. So all you have to do is go over and I think you have to like their page on Twitter, right? So that's fair enough. But in the comment section on YouTube, not in the live chat, in the comments, you put in 3 retro football and your Twitter handle, and you're entered automatically into the competition. So if everyone wants, anyone that's in there, or anyone that's on Twitter, or anyone that's listening now, if you just want to put your details in the comments, not the live chat, in the comments, and we'll go from there. The lads will pick out a winner from there. That'd be great. So I'm sure I've made the balls of that, and if we have, Gav will correct me, but we'll get there. There'll be a winner somewhere. So back to the game. Neco starts at left back. Look, I agree with what you've all said. You can't read too much into that, but it was telling that he did play Neco over there instead of Trent, or instead of putting Milner in, because I think he does want that, you know, Klopp is mad for converting players and having players be able to play more than one position, you know. So if he can have Neco playing left back and doing a decent job, and it's hard to look at the game tonight because I thought he was decent, except when he had to do one with his left foot. You know, he was getting up and down the wing. I said on a show a couple of weeks ago, he's very reminiscent to me of Robbo, but on the right-hand side, because he's a marauding fullback. He's up and down that wing. He's not like Trent. Trent's a different gravy. You're not going to get a player who's like Trent. So to get Neco in there, I can see him playing there in a couple of games for the rest of the season, just to see. I know me and Grizz, we've said about whoever could actually be a player that he'd look at there, but it looks like Neco's just got the baton at the moment and could be the one that he does experiment with a bit more. Would you agree there, Grizz?
Yeah, but trying to second guess our coach is a madness. You know, he often talks about being creative within the squad to solve problems. Yeah. And maybe this is something that they've thought about to solve a problem, maybe not, maybe to create something that saves us money for not going into the market for a left back. You know, we know he happily played Milner at left back, a right-footed player, for a whole season. I'd be surprised if we pursued with this and going into the season. Personally, I just think it's a chance to give him experience, and it's an education. How many great fullbacks do we know that played both sides? You know, without sort of
Philip Lam and John Flanagan.
Well, you know, yeah, I was going to say Carragher, but yeah, Flanagan will do. But you know, Carragher started at left. You know, played one of his best seasons at left back. So I think it's just to further his education. Personally, I don't see him sort of pursuing with this. But as I said, trying to second guess this great man is pretty much a madness.
Very much so, very much so. And moving on to the other areas, Jim, I'm going to come to you here. How did you find the centre backs tonight? Were you happy with the performance of the two lads in there? Was there concerns for you on either of them? What did you think?
I think Van Dijk is obviously just incredible. You know, the amount of times you watch him and you just like, he does something, you just start sort of like chuckling to yourself because he's just so good. You know, that long ball that they tried to get Connolly in as soon as he came on, and he just calm as you like, you know, just top of his head, brings it up. He's incredible. Gomez is a little bit of a worry, if I'm being 100% honest, and has been since he's come back. But I am mindful that Gomez and Fabinho and Matip, and there's one or two others in the group who, when they come back from a break, whether it be from injury or something like this, they take 5 or 6 games. You know, Fabinho, I think pre-break, had just come back from an injury and his form wasn't great. Matip the same. They usually take 2 or 3 games, maybe a little bit more, to get back up to speed. Luckily, we don't have to worry too much because, you know, Virgil is there to sort of hold their hand. I'd be more worried if anything happened to Virgil and you have to stick maybe, say, Lovren back in there next to Gomez in the form that he's in at the moment. Because I think there was an element tonight of Gomez's sort of poor form rubbing off on the goalkeeper. I don't think he looked as good and as comfortable as he has done leading up to tonight. But, you know, overall, you've got to say that Brighton got to be given some credit because they've got a decent forward in Maupay. They've got a couple of good players in midfield. And they did cause us 1 or 2 problems. And they're entitled to do that. Do you know what I mean? We can't be keeping clean sheets every week, unfortunately, which is much of what we're used to. We're not going to be not giving up any chances. Like Grizz and the guys have said, we're off the pace a little tiny bit because we've won the league. You know, we've only got the records to play for as such. So it's inevitable these things are going to happen. But I think given there's going to be such a quick turnaround from the end of this season to the next, I'd be a little bit concerned about Gomez's form at the moment.
It's a valid concern. It's a valid concern. But look, I was leading you on to that, so well done, Jim. You know, I threw the 2 centre backs in, but Virgil can do no wrong. In fairness, it was more Joe I was getting at. But look, he's a young centre back. He only turned 23 recently, so he still has a bit of learning. I think we take him for granted sometimes, but hopefully it doesn't go into next season. But look, we'll move on to the game itself. Dylan, I'm going to come back to you. It was a perfect start for Liverpool. How did you find it? Did you think they were straight in from the beginning, or was it more down to sloppy play by Brighton? What did you think?
Well, I think they owed it. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I've been slightly underwhelmed or disappointed by any performance since we've become champions. We've been waiting 30 years to be champions, and you know, it's too hard to kind of quantify because we're looking for a performance, and then yet we have to let ourselves take our foot off the gas. So I mean, like it's both. It's 50-50. Like I was so annoyed at the Man City performance. I was so annoyed with. I'm sure we all were, but I mean, a lot of fans on social media weren't, and they were, and as you see, they're going. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So, I mean, we owed it to ourselves to come out of the blocks, I think, tonight, because we didn't exactly come out of the blocks against Villa, even though we won. So we did come out of the blocks and we did start and the high press. So I thought Keita was exceptional at the high press.
Yeah.
I thought Keita was biting every loose touch up. He was biting it out, and I really, he's starting to get discipline now. I think Keita. It took a long time for him to get discipline. Because I know he's had injuries and he hasn't been able to get a start, but I think he has the Klopp discipline now. That, you know, he has the press. He has the press now. I think he has Klopp's press.
Yeah, he started off very well. Kev O'Sullivan's just thrown in the chat there that Brighton must have sacked their video analyst because there's no side anywhere capable of playing out from the back the way they did in the first 15 minutes, and he's spot on. Grizz, what did you think of their playing out through the keeper into the centre halves? Did you think it was wise or was it a recipe for disaster?
I thought it was a recipe for disaster. I laughed. I tweeted something, you know, of similar, saying that, you know, they're absolutely playing into our hands and this is pretty mad of them. But fair play to them. You know, I like this coach, Graham Potter. Yeah. I rate this coach, and the job he's done at Brighton. he's done a fantastic job there. There is no doubt that that's his philosophy, and he sticks to that philosophy, and he's got them safe. And there's no way they don't know what they're up against. So fair play to him to stick to that and sort of overcome that period in the first 10-15 minutes where it looked like we were going to just sort of intercept every pass of theirs and sort of attack them at every angle, every corner. But they settled down and they played some great stuff. Fair play to them. The goal they scored, fantastic. I think Martin Tyler really needed that goal.
I was delighted for him. I
was so happy for him. He actually got to raise his voice and cheer. So he needed that. Look, fair play to them. Again, what Dylan said about Naby, I thought Naby was absolutely like a man possessed. And going on from our last pod, do you remember we said that's what he needs to do? Yeah. Because this is an opportunity for him to show us the Leipzig Naby. So even though we've been slightly critical of him in the past, this is a patch in his career which is crucial. It may not be crucial to sort of us in terms of we've won the title and everything, but it's from a personal point of view, in my opinion, I think this is a massively crucial part of Naby's LFC career. I really think, and that's the kind of performance that we've come to expect. But you can see the fitness is there. That's the key with Naby. When he feels comfortable and strong in his own body, we know he's capable of doing the rest of the things that he does. It doesn't come to me as a surprise in terms of his interception, because that's what he was known at in Leipzig.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the biggest tackler, or going around sort of heading the ball and being physical. It's the interceptions what Klopp and Pep Linders look for. And this guy's one of the best around in Europe at sort of nicking the ball off you, just intercepting, possibly reading the pass. And, he was fantastic at that and, gave us a brilliant start.
He did, Jim. The brilliant start. It was a press by Naby. It was very reminiscent to a goal he got against Huddersfield. Was it last season, I think? And again, a very early goal there, playing out from the keeper. How did you feel he performed tonight, Naby? He was on it, really, wasn't he, from the very start?
Yeah. Just want to say to the guys in the chat, it's 100% not my smoke alarm that's going off. I'm on mute and I'm not talking. I don't know whose it is.
Oh, it's mine. No, it's mine.
Definitely not mine.
Batteries need replacing. Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. There's the culprit. I knew it wasn't Jim, right? Because he's been on mute when he doesn't be talking, and I knew it was one of the other two, and I didn't want to shame them. Oh, yeah. Not complaining. They're just saying you need your batteries.
I don't have an alarm.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. So I said, I better not. I don't want to name and shame, but at least we're down. We know it's Grizz. But Jim, sorry.
That's right. I thought every time since the comeback, he's been incredible. He was great against Everton. It was disappointing not to see him in the games that followed, but tonight again, I was disappointed when he went off. But the reality is, this is a young guy. He's had his injury problems. We're not playing for anything per se at the moment, other than records. So it's great to see him coming into the form that, Grizz and other people would have seen him play at Leipzig. I didn't see a lot of him at Leipzig, to be perfectly honest. But what I've seen of him at Liverpool is pressing. Tonight, it reminded me of, it was only pre-season when I saw him do this, but it was an away game at Blackburn, I think in the first summer when we signed him. And a press very reminiscent to tonight, where the ball was played out from the back. Their deepest midfielder picked, just as he was about to receive the ball, Keita was probably, I'd say, about 10, 15 yards away from him. And the pace of Keita to get to him, to nick that ball, slid it through for us to score. Again, it's only pre-season, it's only Blackburn. But when you see that from a player, in this type of team, is going to be very exciting. Personally, what I like about him the most is that he always receives the ball on the half turn to go forward. Whereas I think a lot of our other midfielders like to collect the ball facing the way they're playing. So a lot of them will receive it with their sort of facing the defenders, for example, and look to play back and then out and around. Whereas Keita, you look at him, always on the half turn, always looking to go forward. That's his first option. If you can't go forward, you go sideways or backwards. And he runs with the ball really well as well. So he's got everything. He's a generational type of midfield player who can do all three of those roles. And if we can keep him fit for 20, 25 games a season, I think you can have an absolute world-class talent there. So, yeah, I think Klopp's doing everything right with him at the moment.
That's it. I just see Wayne Rusk has thrown in a super chat there. They usually banned, but it's the boy Grizz batteries for the smoke alarm, so we'll let it run. We'll let it roll tonight. But no super chats. We don't accept any cash. Grizz will, and I'm surprised he's letting them batteries run down. All the celebrity YouTubing and podcasting he does these days, you think he'd be able to afford batteries for the smoke alarm, but
it's not the batteries, it's the getting to the damn thing that's the problem. I haven't got a step ladder handy, and when I can't knock on the neighbour's door. Either that, or I need a double-decker bus or a camel.
Stop making toast, man. Stop making toast.
Yeah. Burning the toast.
All that, yeah.
Yeah, use all them.
I'll fix it.
Yeah, that's all right. You know, it's killing everyone and listening tonight, but we'll get to it someday.
Back on mute. Bye-bye.
Back on mute. That's it. Just a quick shout, lads. We've got about 90 people are watching us at the moment, and we've got a good few likes in there, but we can always use a few more. So if you're in the chat and you're on YouTube, have a little hit the like button, the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to us, and you'll get all the bell icon, you get all the shows, notifications for all the shows that are coming on. We do try to get a good, 5-6 shows a week, so keep it up. Look, we keep saying it's all free. If you want to listen. If you don't, that's no problem. But we enjoy the interaction as well with everyone in the chat. So if you can just hit the likes, and we'll see where we go with that. Dylan, I'm going to come to you about Naby. He was involved in the 2 goals really early on with the pressing. Is that something that you're expecting to see from Keita, or is it just with Naby? We've said on this show, I've said I'm a big fan of Naby Keita, but his durability and his resilience, he keeps getting injured. Are you hoping to see a run of games by Naby Keita where we can expect to see that kind of high pressing to get us into forward transitions?
Well, what I love about Naby, what I've seen from day one is unpredictability. We have the uniform discipline of the soldiers of Genie and of Hendo, but Naby absolutely gives that. Apologies for me camera here, lads, because my tablet is acting up there, so I had to use the phone, and I'm on shaky cam at the moment.
Between this and Grizz's for smoke alarm, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's worse.
I know. But Naby, he just offers so much unpredictability he can hold the ball, he can run in between 2 people, and he can make space by dragging in 2 or 3 defenders. And I just think the polished article would be to release that ball a little bit quicker. I think he holds on to it just a second or two too long. Again, it's what comes with his unpredictability, I suppose. But his pressing, especially tonight, and it's a curve from when he started to where he is now. And I know he has got injured and he's not got the run that maybe he deserved. But he's definitely he's a Klopp player now. He's a proper Klopp player now. So as we're all hoping for a run of games from him. I do really like him though.
Yeah, we've mentioned it, as I said, we've all sort of praised him, but it's the injuries he picks up and the little knocks that you wouldn't expect him to get out, and he'd be out for 6 weeks, with a little stomach cramp and he's gone. It's a bit of a weird one, but we're all hoping to see the best of him, and you're allowed praise him and you're allowed criticize him, and too many people get hung up on one or the other, and he's playing well. Let's praise him when he plays well. If he's not playing well, criticize him. And it's the same with any player, really, isn't it, in the team? Which moves me nicely on to the second goal, is a player as well that divides the fan base. People will admit to liking him and others will refuse to admit to liking him. It was Jordan Henderson. And Jim, I'm going to come back to you. Hendo's goal was an absolute peach, I thought. The way he struck that ball back across goal, it was a lovely strike, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's got that in his locker. He's got good technique. He is a good passer of the ball. He's a good crosser of the ball. So he has got that in his locker, and I think that's why, that's one of the assets he's got when he plays either side of the three rather than the deepest player, to be perfectly honest. But it was interesting tonight. There was a few times, even though I think he was set up as the 6, I suppose, a lot more tonight. He was further ahead of the ball. He was pulling out wide as he would do when he was playing sort of in the 8, I guess. And Gini was sitting in there, which is nice to see. But I think, moving forward, you look at the performance against Aston Villa when he's not on the pitch, and then you look at the performances for tonight, for example, from the first whistle, the go forward in the team and in the other games. And at the end of the day, people can say what they like about him. He just keeps he glues that team together. And sometimes it's the things you don't see. It's the things that the players on the pitch and the team appreciate, which is far more important than what, us or anybody else on Twitter thinks. I think we can all think of certain people who even now refer to Jordan Henderson as the 5th, 6th or 7th best midfield player at the club. And you know what? Technically, they may be better footballers, but tactically and what the team wants to do, he is the person that does it. Yeah. Like Grizz said earlier about Gini and Hendo and the team before. Yeah, same with Gini. Those two guys and Firmino, they get what needs to be done for the team to be successful. And ultimately, that's what it's all about, is the team being successful. So I think anybody on Hendo's case, yeah, he does play poorly sometimes. Of course, every footballer does. But be honest with yourself. Yeah. Be honest with the people who listen to you and whatever, and just say he's he's vital to this Liverpool team. The most successful Liverpool team, I think, that probably most of us have seen in our lifetimes. Yeah. So,
very much so. Very much so. And Megan McCallion just pops in the chat there about Henderson was away at the hospital for a scan on his knee. Hope it's nothing too serious. Grizz, have you heard anything about that, or have you any? I mean, I suppose if it's not a serious injury, it's no harm, I suppose, coming now when there's no nothing at stake really, and now it get him in and get him treated once it's not too serious.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. I mean, the fact that he walked off is hopefully a good sign. But just, Jim, I can't add anything more to what Jim said, apart from sort of, every time we, not doubt him, but every time we pick out a weakness of him, he goes and proves us wrong. And when I say us, I'm talking about people who, unlike me, sort of, don't rate him or have an agenda against him. I mean, we forget that he has got that in his lockup because he started off as a right winger for Sunderland, and that was his trademark. As soon as the ball goes out wide, very much a la Trent, whipping it in. Yeah, whipping. So he's got that in his lockup. Again, we have to remember the amount of positions that he's played, and you have to be very clever. Yeah. You've got to have a lot of football know-how to be able to play in a Jurgen Klopp 6, in a Jurgen Klopp 8. So many interchangeable positions. And, Jurgen Klopp himself says that, it's the hardest position to play in my team, the number 6. But you've got to remember, a right winger, so much abuse he got, sort of in the early days when he was, and then under Rodgers, a different role. And then under Jurgen Klopp. And, these are top coaches, and I've said this before, Keith, that the only people that will criticize him non-stop, everyone's allowed to be criticized. He's allowed bad games, he's allowed bad patches, but the only people that will criticize him non-stop throughout his career will be people that have never coached or played at any decent level of football. You will find, go and check it out, you will find that. Anyone who has appreciates Henderson for what he is. He's a very, very efficient part of this, the greatest team. I've said they've overtaken the 90s team for me. The Barnes, Barnes, Rush, McMahon team. This team surpassed anything I've ever seen in my lifetime supporting Liverpool. And he's the captain, and he's the captain for a reason, and he's proved it. for 2 seasons non-stop.
Exactly. We've just got a comment there from Byron Gronewald. Morning from Melbourne. Nice from Byron. Hope you're well. They're just locked down again. All right, so maybe not too well. But it's good to have you on. He says even if Hendo is injured, it's good to have him around just to be in the ears, especially at the drinks breaks. And it is true because he's like the coach on the pitch, isn't he? He's relaying all the instructions. He knows what to do, and that's another sign of his tactical nous, isn't it? That he knows what Klopp wants and he knows how to relay that. Dylan, I'm going to come on to you now. How do you feel? I want to move on to Brighton because after the 2 goals, not that the intensity dropped down, but Brighton got a foothold in. And look, we won't dwell on Neco's performance, but they were getting a bit of joy down his side. And then they got an equaliser before half time. Did you think it was a well-deserved equaliser or not equaliser? Sorry, not equaliser. Goal back. Did you feel it was well-deserved or was it against the run of play? Or how did you feel?
No, they absolutely targeted the young fella, as you would as a manager.
Yeah.
You see there's a young fella over there. Test him out. This is his first start. He got a yellow card. Test him even more. Try and get him sent off. So, like they definitely on purpose switched the play over to their right wing. I mean, I thought Neco was fabulous. For a young fella getting a start, the only thing he was afraid to do was use his left peg, which is totally understandable because he didn't want to he didn't want to lose the ball. So he was afraid. He had I think on the very first chance, the very first minute or so, he had a chance to run the byline with his left peg, but he checked back inside twice in his right. So I mean, I think he done very well for the start, and I think he was taken off for his own protection because if he was sent off, he was getting slated.
Yeah,
if he was sent off. It wasn't a good start. I think that's it. Might look like he's getting Klopp is picking on him or that, but it's not. Klopp is putting his arm around him, going, right, you've got your start there, son. You got a yellow card. Let's just take you off now, and don't get sent off. Don't lose the game.
I agree totally. And as Kieran's put in the chat there, Brighton's right back is good. Tariq Lamptey, he's good. It was actually good little clashes when you'd see the two of them coming up against each other. But, as we've all touched on there, with Neco being on his weaker side, he was at a disadvantage. Jim, did you feel that Brighton were targeting that side and it was inevitable that a goal was going to come? Were you worried going into the second half before we knew that, they scored just on half time? Were you worried that the second half was going to continue like that they were going to keep pressuring that side, or did you expect maybe the change to come?
I didn't expect the change to come, to be honest with you. I think Brighton, obviously, their strength, having watched them a few times, is using they narrow up their midfield, and the width comes mainly from their 2 fullbacks, because they don't play without actual wingers. And Lamptey down the right, I know a few of the boys in the chat are saying he belongs to Chelsea, but I'm pretty sure they bought him in January.
Yeah, they bought him. They bought him.
And I think Chelsea are probably going to regret that, to be perfectly honest with you. I've seen Lamptey now about 5 or 6 times since they signed him, and he looks very, very good. So I think probably Brighton might make some money on him, not this summer, but next summer. So inevitably that was going to happen. He's in his natural position. He's confident getting forward. I was a little bit disappointed with Ox, to be honest with you. I thought he could have done a bit more in terms of protecting Neco. But, as we said earlier, sometimes you've got to give the opposition teams credit. They are going to cause us problems. We are occasionally going to have people playing out of position. And it's a learning curve. He's not always going to have. He's not always going to be able to start at right back. Obviously, he's got Trent in front of him. We've seen Trent himself get into trouble with certain attackers this season as well. So it's all a learning curve. They did take their goal very, very well. It was a cracking finish. But I think when you analyse every goal that's scored, pretty much there's at some point you can take it all the way back and say if we'd done better there, they might not have got the opportunity to score. So I think it's just one of those. Personally, I would have given him another 10 or 15 minutes, but for all we know, it was pre-planned that Robbo was having a half off, and then he'd be coming on a half time, come what may.
Very true, very true. Grizz, the second half kicks off. How were you expecting that to play out? Did you think that Klopp was going to get into them, or like had you taken a foot off in the end of the second half, or were you happy with them with how they came out?
It was always going to, the intent was always going to show sort of by his substitutions. The moment he brings on Fabinho and Mane, he wants to sort of kill the game.
Yeah.
Neco, I expected him to play 45, maybe six, as Jim says, maybe another 10 minutes, 60 minutes, and then possibly sort of take him off. But again, second half, we were much better. The semblance of control, I thought, the first half was proper heavy metal, wasn't it? Rock and roll football, the old Jurgen Klopp. His first Liverpool team was like that, wasn't it? When he first came over and sort of end-to-end kind of stuff. But second half was a bit more control to it. They're a decent team. They're not a bad team. We've got to, as we said, we've got to give them. They were up for it.
They've arguably been the form team since the lockdown came back.
I was just going to say they've actually been one of the better teams since lockdown. And again, that's a lot of credit to their coach, because we've often talked about when the lower league, the teams at the lower end of the table may struggle because of their lack of support from fans, whatever, and the more technical, superior, skillful teams will, dominate. But they've shown that they're not far off a very decent team. Credit to their coach. But from our point of view, as soon as Fabinho and Mane came on, I knew we'd get a third. A couple of occasions we could have been a bit more careful with our final pass, but it is what it is, we are semi-switched off, regardless of what we say, regardless of what Klopp says. It's been the most intense 2 years you can imagine. Absolutely perfection, near enough perfection. Can you imagine, what they've gone through, what the effort and energy they put in mentally, physically? So, we're going to have games like this now coming up to the last few games where it's going to be, not looking brilliant. A couple of players could have done better. As I said, Ox is another one in a situation like Naby where he needs to show far more, whatever he plays. It doesn't matter if he's been playing left, right. He's got to show more. He's not at the moment, but it's difficult to judge because the rest of the players around him aren't at optimum speed, aren't at optimum, functioning optimally. So, but overall, it was a bit far more comfortable in the second half and a bit of a stroll. We should have scored a few more, actually, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'd say if Mo wasn't going for this golden goal, we'd have got a few more, because he had a chance to square it a couple of times, and he went himself.
That's a very good point, because look, we're all big Mo fans, but when he's chasing these things, sometimes he does get a little bit of tunnel vision, And look, that's what I suppose it makes him elite, doesn't it? He's hungry like that. We think back to a forward. We have our number 9 now isn't a selfish forward. Emile Heskey wasn't a selfish forward. Mo Salah is a selfish forward, and he will look to get as many goals as he can. And long may it continue. When you see the stats, it all ties up. Before we move on, guys, I'm just going to reiterate about the competition and a little bit of extra. Gav's put a bit of extra meat on this one. So the entry in the comments after the show on YouTube, subscribe, follow 3Retro on Twitter, and in the comments type 3Retro on your Twitter handle, and you'll be automatically thrown in for that competition. So before we move on to the third goal, I'm going to take a small little deviation here, and we're going to do the latest in our player profiles of the season, and we're going to move on to a player who I think will be very popular amongst everybody. It's going to be Sadio Mane. So, Sadio Mane, Grizz, I'll come to you first on this one. What does Sadio mean to you, and how have you found his season without worrying about his previous seasons? I know Gav wants to try and keep these to the current season and their impact on the current season. How has Mane performed for you?
You asked me what Sadio Mane is to me. Sadio Mane to me is life. He's an absolute wonderful person. And he's an amazing footballer. We've praised Henderson. We've praised Van Dijk in terms of nominations when you're talking about Player of the Year. But for me personally, this guy has been our player of the year, and you know, it's a perilous job trying to pick one out of this amazing set of players, and they've all been brilliant. But this guy has been our match winner in so many games where things are not going for us. But he's turned it around. You know, Villa, he sets up the winning goal away. You know, Palace, he scores. So many games. He's pulled us out of the fire. The guy's a phenomenal talent, and he's been consistent, absolutely consistent, which is, you know, one of the criticisms that was always laid at him in terms of, you know, he's not consistent enough, he can do more. But he's been a revelation this season for me. I think, you know, his work rate, it just goes so unnoticed. The amount of effort he puts in, you know, makes Robbo's life easier. I mean, not taking anything away from Robbo, but I ask him, you know, who's his favourite player on the team, he'll probably say Sadio. The link-up play is sensational. The understanding he's got with Bobby and Mo, it's out of this world. It's a privilege. It's an absolute privilege to have someone like Sadio Mane on your team. I mean, you know, he's a wonderful guy that I've had the pleasure of meeting as well. And that's why I'm sort of talking about the personal side of things with him. He's an absolute gem. And on that pitch, you know, as I said, if you had to really sort of narrow it down to just pick one player of the season, for me personally, it will be Sadio Mane.
Excellent stuff. And Jim, what about you?
Yeah, I think he's the player of the year, without a doubt. I think he's. It's very difficult, obviously, because we've had such a great year, and certain players have obviously contributed massively. But I think at the key times, when there's been the doubts around, are we going to can we win this game? Can we find a way to get something out of this game? Can we turn, you know, something around in our favour? He has been the catalyst for it. He's out. Considering when we signed him, I wasn't a massive fan of that signing, to be honest with you, especially for the money. Having seen him at Southampton, I thought he was a 1 in 5 sort of player where he'd be great for one game and then he'd live off that. But I think he makes that front three the front three. And he is probably out of everybody in that team, apart from Virgil van Dijk, because the difference he makes at that back four, when he's not playing, that has the biggest effect on us, I think. The things he does, both in and out of possession, the movement, and his decision-making, in particular this season, has improved tenfold. He is, without a shadow of a doubt, our player of the year. And he must be, at the moment, a very good chance of winning, all the individual player awards that are out there across the whole of Europe, I would have thought.
Yeah, I'd say he's in the equation, or he's in the hat. Dylan, I'm going to move on to you. Before I do, Kev O'Sullivan put in the chat to bear in mind Sadio only had a 2-week break as well at the end of last season with the AFCON, that going so deep into that, and then he was straight back into the team. Like, it's been amazing. So, Dill, how was Sadio been for you?
Yeah, I can't say any more than what the lads have said. There's been games where teams have just sat in and we've really, really struggled to break them down, and just one little moment from Sadio where he buys 2 yards, and that makes a difference. And he's able to do it. So you do be looking for him. Like I think Grizz said there, the Villa game was exactly the game where we were 80 minutes absolutely tearing our hair out with how well disciplined Villa were. This is the first Villa game, not last week.
Yeah.
And we were tearing our hair out, wondering, are we going to get into this game? Never mind winning. But yeah, absolutely. I can't say any more. I'm not ready to predict me player of the season yet. I don't know why.
Keeping your cards close to your chest. You must have a vote.
It's such a 30-year process that I'm not ready to just sell it yet.
Do you know how we talk about sort of Mo Salah's single-mindedness in terms of goals, and he's, if he wins the third, Golden Boot, for me, he becomes one of the greatest Premiership forwards of all time. I mean, you win 3 Golden Boots in a row from a right wing position. And then we often talk about Bobby's teamwork and effort. Sadio Mane is like in between, hybrid of both of them.
Yeah,
he can do the scoring and he can do the creating.
Yeah.
And as
yes,
Jim said, that he's probably, it's difficult, and I know it's opinion, and people will shout me down in the comments and say, no, Mo is the system or Bobby's the system. But Sadio Mane, for me, is the most integral part of that trio. Because as I said, he's a hybrid of both.
How do you guys feel about? Somebody said on one of the commentaries the other day about Mane as a drop number 10, as a centre forward, as opposed to coming in off the wing.
I've heard that a few times getting mentioned, that he's a possible player moving central, and I think his intelligence, he could do it. I think physically he can do it. I think he's durable. It's just one of those. It's hard to see in this Liverpool team maybe him doing it, but it's certainly something. It's an option. I think it's like with Salah as well. You know, you can see Salah going into a 9 position, maybe a la Ronaldo nearly. And Mane probably could go into that sort of central 10 role. For me, I think it could be done. Well, I don't know what the guys think. Is it something Jim or Grizz you think?
I personally, I wouldn't, because I think what you lose from his off the ball movement and the way he stretches the back 4 from the opposition to make space for Firmino to drop in, for Salah to come from out to in. You start clogging up that central area, and putting him in there. He may then start playing more with his back to goal, linking up play. And I think you lose more than you gain, personally, for me. But then, you know, he may evolve the system and evolve the style of play, and you don't know, do you? But for me,
I was going to say, he's definitely got the talent and the know-how to play that. But I'd agree that we would lose far more. I mean, I've said it often. I'll say it again. We have got the most intelligent wide men in world football, because the way they create their chances and the way they start off wide, and their timing of the runs is elite at the moment. It's underplayed, the intelligence our wingers have got, and because of that intelligence, they have the know-how, in my opinion, to play. I mean, you know, he could easily play that number 10 role. He's got the technique for it. He's got the vision for it. He's got the brain, you know, he can. But unless we were to at the moment, we wouldn't think about it because we haven't got an option.
Yeah.
But if we were to have an option, just say a Jadon Sancho, to play that wide role, then you could sort of play around with the formation. And it could be another evolution of this Liverpool side. Yeah. But right now, with the squad that we've got, we wouldn't change it or anything.
There's a person on the chat there, Keith, who Santiago, I think, and he's dead right, because he says, "What's with all this changing the team around? Like, we actually just won the league with this team, and here we are picking."
Yeah. Discussing changes.
Very good. It's a true point, you know. But then I suppose in one hand, it's you did ask the question, Dale, so I don't know what you're pulling us up on over this.
I'm pulling myself up on it. I'm talking to myself.
But no, that's what Twitter is, and anyway, isn't it? Just talking to yourself, hoping someone will join in.
So much so.
Santiago is right. You know, I think we're all FIFA and Football Manager obsessed. You know, we all think we can do the job. Let's move this successful player from here and put him there. But look, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Let's not try and reinvent the wheel. So we'll move on from Sadio and we'll go back to the game. So if Sadio was involved, then is in the game for the second half. We'll finish up shortly. Mo gets the 3rd goal, and it was a lovely goal, I thought. It was a delivery by Robbo and a great run across to flash in the header. Jim, I'll come to you. It was nice by Mo, good run, and another different type of goal for him.
Yeah, it was nice. It's a type of corner that you don't see anymore, really. The near post, either the near post flick on or the near post headed goal that we scored tonight. You know, I mean, growing up, that was the stock set piece. It was dinked into the near post, it was flicked on by a big man on it towards the back post, etc. Now it's all short corners and playing the ball out to the edge of the area. And to be honest, it does my head in. I mean, why you want to waste your time playing those short corners and moving it out, etc. When again you're looking at a fullback. Everyone says Trent's delivery. Well, Robbo from the opposite side, left back. It's a great little dink into the near post. Great pace on it, and the goalkeepers are not going to get down to save those, are they? And again, the modern trend is no people on the posts, so you get it on target either side of the goalkeeper, and you're going to score.
It's true, and it's something that you might see more of. Go ahead, Chris.
The beauty of it is, I've just read, Mo says we practice that. And when we practice things like that and it comes off, there's no better feeling.
Well, Luke Gordon just put in the chat there before we go. Luke Gordon just put in there that Carragher was trying to discredit and to make out it was a fluke,
Oh, well, there you go. He's, another
Sky man.
It was blatantly obvious. If you watch it,
absolutely.
That's exactly where he put it. It was
exactly.
But again,
get out of the way of it.
We often talk about the variety of goals this team scores, and one of my biggest sort of gripes is always set pieces. We don't score enough. Not now, not anymore, but it used to be sort of we don't score enough set pieces. We need to score more of set pieces, and the amount of set piece goals we've scored this season. Or was it last season? I can't remember. I'm not good with stats, but I think it was like one of the best we've had for ages, sort of. And it helps. It helps.
We don't need to live. We don't need to live in the pain. Sorry, Chris. Well, we don't need to live in the pain days anymore. We've all had that. We're not doing enough of this. We're absolutely doing everything 100% now, and it's brilliant.
Absolutely.
Call Torley before we move on. A fellow P head is just thrown in a nice comment that there's 4 P heads on a pod. 4 P's in a pod. Very good call. Sharp as always.
Well done, Cole.
Glad to know you're listening.
Thanks for that. Yeah. Thanks for the comment. Thanks for the input, Cole.
I'd like to think I'm more of a manja too.
You a fancy P, more of a well. If you want to think that, you think that, Dale. But you're unfortunately you're just a P in a pod. So live with that. So. The game's toys up there. Dylan, I'll come to you just to finish it. Did you feel it was a deserved 3-1? Did you feel that the second half we'd sort of nullified the threat of Brighton, and it was a fair reflection of the game?
Yeah, we're again, without starting to hammer it in, we're champions, and we're champions for a reason, and we expect to beat everybody, and that's not being big headed or cocky, and that's just being the quality that we have and where we are, and we're chasing certain milestones now, and so yeah, I think so. And Brighton also are happy enough with their position, so it wasn't a pressure game as such for them either, Yeah. So we do. Yeah, I think we deserved it. Yeah, I do think we deserved it.
Excellent. And Grizz, what about yourself? Are you of the same opinion that with a bit of scared in the end of the first half, but second half was more foot on throat and went through the gears?
We could have raised it any time we felt like it. Brighton played a very good game, probably one of their better games of the season. We were at probably 80%, I'd say. Could have raised it any time. Unfortunate with the Hendo, because all we're looking for now is sort of, whilst we get these 100 points, please God, we don't pick up any injuries that will sort of affect us for the start of the season. And that's got to be the aim. I'm pretty certain in the back of the coaches and Klopp's mind is, look, no injuries. Still enough faith in the squad to get the 100 points, plenty of rotation. When I say plenty, 2-3 a game. But no injuries, and make sure it's like a serious preseason, as we've said before. It's a serious preseason now, going into the last 4-5 games, and make sure the guys are ready for the start of the next season, which is going to be a short turnaround. So yeah, that's the aim of the game at the moment.
That's it. And Jim, happy enough with the second half and the result tonight? And do you agree with Grizz about the way the season's going to pan out with the shortened preseason, or with the non-existent preseason?
Yeah. Non-existent.
That's where we are now. I think happy with the results. Soon as we went 2-0 up, really, it's game over. Brighton obviously are going to come into the game a little bit, as happens in every game. So no real major issues with the game. Like Grizz says, there was a couple of levels left in us if we needed it. We didn't. get out of there. Hopefully Hendo's is just a knock, a bit of an impact injury, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And if he misses a game and then he's back, then great. And yeah, we start again, don't we? We get through these 4 games and then we go again.
Excellent. That's it. That's all you can do, isn't it? Just sort of get them in and reevaluate and see whatever Klopp has up his sleeve. Get ready for next season, you know. So before we go, I'm just going to say we've again about the competition. Just get into the comments, not the live chat, into the comments. Three football, retro football, whatever. 3 football. Put your tag, your Twitter handle in there as well, and like them on Twitter. I'll get the thing up here. I'm brutal. I wasn't on last night when this was all announced, but we'll get the details out. So everyone just get on there. And the reason I'm saying this again is to get back to our first thing about doing 2,000 subscribers was that me and Grizz somehow are the Daytrippers band. Dylan, you'll be interested in this, being a musician as well. We have somehow been lined up that I'm going to learn to play Fairy Tale in New York on the tin whistle, and Grizz is going to sing it because it's his favourite song, but he calls it The Bells Are... What's it? The Bells Are Ringing? Is that what it is, Grizz? The bells are ringing. That's what he calls it. The bells are ringing. So we're going to learn that. We're going to play.
That says bells are ringing.
Oh, there is, Grizz. There is quite a prominent one. So you know,
George, Keith.
That's where I got it from.
Yeah,
Keith, are you Shane McGowan?
I'm tin whistling it, Dill. I'm not singing. So I have Zach got a tin whistle and wanted to learn how to play it. So I've commandeered that one, and I have sort of learned a bit of The Bells Are Ringing. So I'm not doing too bad. I don't know. I think I might my impact on Grizz. I'm a bit slower than the song is going, and there's a few stops. It's like in Father Ted when.
I'm very talented. Don't worry about me. I'm very. I'll adjust my pace accordingly.
You'll be the one that's suffering for it, Grizz. So I would like to hear that. So that's to come. I don't know when we're going to be doing that. It won't be Christmas. It could be Sunday. Who knows? But it's coming soon. So before everyone goes, if you'll just smash that like button. Thanks for everyone for listening. We had a good lot in the chat tonight. As you all know, I'm brutal with the chat. I'm brutal at getting the comments up. But we do appreciate everyone coming in and throwing in their input. It helps drive on the podcast. It gives us things to talk about. And again, it was another great chat there tonight. So we're going to finish up now, and I want to thank the lads for coming on. So Jim, thanks very much once again for giving us your time and coming on and talking about Liverpool 3, Brighton 1.
Yeah, absolute pleasure, guys. Thanks very much.
Cheers. And Grizz, as always,
no problem,
the main man.
No
fix that bleeding smoke alarm for the next time. We get a super chat going for you. If we get you a step ladder to get up and...
Well, I might delay it now that you've told about the super chat business and this sort of money coming into my account. I might just slightly delay it now.
Get more of them super chats in.
Do you know what I mean?
Businessman, he's always thinking, this fella. Always thinking. Gav has just confirmed the tin whistle performance will be Sunday, so I'll have to get practicing on that. And
whoa!
I know.
Short notice.
Well,
Sunday.
we've known for weeks, Grizz, in fairness. You know, we've known this good week. You want to get out and learn them lyrics. Okay. And Dylan, thanks very much for joining us tonight. The first time having you on, won't be the last, I'm sure.
Thanks, lads. Thanks very much. Pleasure to meet you guys.
You're giving my nickname out there. I'm not happy with that.
Keith, can I ask one question to any Liverpool fan there?
No.
Who wore the longest number 8 jersey for Liverpool?
Right. Go for it.
Anybody? Any answers?
Anyone? This is a gag out of a Christmas cracker, this one.
Sammy Lee, it was down to his knees.
There you go.
Sorry about that.
Attacking the small people. You know that's not on. But we'll write that down.
Pleasure, Keith. Pleasure about, boys. Really, really, really good. Thank you.
Great to have you. Great to have you. Listen, everyone, thanks for joining us tonight. This has been the Fatback 4 reaction to Liverpool versus Brighton, and we will see us all again soon. Now.